Play Real Men of Genius on Chris's Echo.
Budweiser presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you.
Previously on Sailing Adrift, we discuss plans for the masterhead build-out, and Chris takes on another fun Finnish carpentry project, the vanity cabinet.
So what you're about to see was a very painful process. We'll attempt to bring you along, but first I was going to give you a little back information. So the other day, I came out to the boat, and I found... Oh, there's the leak. That's the hydraulic cylinder that steers the boat.
Worthless steaming pile of cow dung, figuratively speaking.
A few months ago, our cylinder out of nowhere just developed a really serious leak. I don't know what caused it. I don't know if I bumped it while I was building in the back cabin, but that's where it lives and that's where we were working. So chances are that's what happened. Boats have three basic types of steering. We're just going to focus on the one that our boat has, which is hydraulics. Hydraulics work by taking fluid-filled lines and using valves to push and pull on a steering cylinder that makes the rudder go back and forth. So if you were to rotate the helm to port, the cylinder is going to pressurize that side of the system, and that forces the arm of the cylinder out, turns the rudder, and hopefully you turn to port. Basically, we needed to replace the seals and the bushings of the cylinder because somewhere in there one had failed and was now leaking the hydraulic fluid out of the system rather than keeping it contained where it's supposed to be. So at first I went and bought the tool that I would need to pull this thing apart. That didn't work at all. It wasn't strong enough. I couldn't get the leverage I needed. These things are super tightly sealed, especially one that's probably been sitting there for a decade or longer, just hanging out. So I took it to a guy that does hydraulics that works out of his garage that I found online. He's actually really, really close to us. I drove over there, dropped it off with him. 3 days later, I get a call from him and he says, I can't fix it. I can't get it open either. So we took it to a real shop, one that does hydraulic repairs. I dropped the cylinder off with a rebuild kit designed for that cylinder, and the guy told me it would probably take him about an hour to do. Came back to pick it up. We got a nice shiny new cylinder. Like why he cleaned that off or spent time doing that, I have no idea. But he also gave us a nice bill for 3 hours worth of work. So $330 later, we had a supposedly functional cylinder. So now we have a shiny, rebuilt, resealed cylinder that supposedly works great. We bring it back to the boat. We need to reinstall it where it was. We need to add the hydraulic fluid that was removed in the removal process. And we need to bleed the system. Bleeding the system is taking the air out. When you dump in the new hydraulic fluid, invariably you're going to get little bubbles that go along with it as it goes into the system. And you can't have any bubbles in the system. So you've got to get every little bit of air out. And that's what's referred to as bleeding the system. To get the air out, we need to continually run the fluid through the system without any pressure and just basically recycle the fluid until there are no more bubbles in the line. To do that, we loosen these bleed valves that are on the back of the cylinder, and then we steer the helm in one direction until no bubbles come out, constantly re-adding hydraulic fluid to make up for the stuff that's coming out of the back of the cylinder through those tubes that you're about to see. And then once there's no bubbles going, we start rotating it the other way until there are no bubbles. Then you go back to the front way until there are no bubbles. And you repeat and you repeat and you repeat and you repeat until no matter which direction you're turning the helm, there's no bubbles in the system. Then you have to do it on the other station, since we have two. We have the one in the cabin and the one on the deck. So it is a long and tedious process, but it seems relatively simple. Well, that wasn't really the case, and you're about to find out why. Pump is back in place. Hydraulic pump. Installed by me, so it should work flawlessly. About ready to bleed the lines?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right. That's what these tubies are for. I got an idea. Right now, I've dumped every bit of hydraulic fluid out of these lines. Oh, that's the wrong direction. Just want to make sure everything's nice and tight, but you can over tighten these apparently, so. It's scary. I do not know enough about hydraulic lines to feel comfortable. This seems different.
It's a lot shinier than before.
Yeah, why did he do that? I didn't ask him to.
I didn't even realize it was brass.
But the idea is this. We take these tubes, we start filling it with the hydraulic fluid, and once it gets full, you watch me and I steer the boat back and forth, and then we make sure that there's no air bubbles coming out of them, and that should be a bled system. But really, part number one is hoping there's no freaking leaks on these connections, because I'm nervous.
Oh no.
How hard can it be?
I'm gonna go up above and start dumping in some hydraulic fluid.
Okay.
You just keep your eye on this and let me know how it progresses.
Okay.
Okay, the rig here at the helm is pretty simple. The tubes leave the back of the cylinder. We use some cheesecloth to make sure that we don't drop any chunks back in. Just like that. And then we take this guy, which is where the hydraulic fuel gets loaded from this top helm station. We're just going to start pouring in new 10 weight hydraulic fluid into the system, which is the recommended weight based on the manufacturer. Like that. I think this is going to be a pretty slow process at first. It's starting to take it now. You seeing anything down there? You tell me when you start seeing like action in those tubes, would you? All right, Kel, why don't you start turning the wheel for me? Yeah, just keep going. Is anything happening at all?
I do see some bubbles with this one. It's gonna come out on your shoe. I'm watching it. It's oozing.
I hope Dawn cleans this mess up. It cleans little duckies, right?
Yep.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
What?
It's leaking down here.
Where?
I can't tell.
Yeah, go check on it and see where it's leaking.
We are going to die!
That's what I was afraid of, man. Will you come up here? Pretty good leak.
Yeah.
Jesus.
We ended up taking the cylinder out again and taking it back for a re-repair. The connection points were still leaking and causing all sorts of problems. After some time in the shop, we were ready for round 2.
Before we can get to the fun stuff, we got to put this guy back and rig up our helm a little better than last time so we don't make a big hydraulic fluid mess on the deck that Kelly has to clean up because I suck. So our first attempt at reinstalling this guy ended with this piece right here. When I went to put it in, it was loose, and this one was nice and firm. And I should have stopped there, but I assumed that when we took it in that the guy had it all ready to go. It's odd, you know, at $110 an hour, he spent a lot of time taking the patina off of this and cleaning it up and removing the label that told the serial number and stuff like that. And I would rather he just finished putting it back together well. Because that was loose, this is the side that was leaking. We tested this one by trying to get the air out of this side. Everything was going great. As soon as we went to spin the wheel the other way, leak, 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 and it made a river going all the way into the bilge. So this go around, it is nice and firm. So I am going to reinstall this bad boy and then reattach these guys. So that's what we're up to first this morning. Okay. Minimal leaks and we're all attached. This is the scary connection right here. It seems still firm, way firmer than it was last time. So we're gonna go ahead and attempt to bleed the lines again, and hopefully we won't see a yellow river going down through here. You can see where there has been one formerly, and I just cleaned it up so we have a fresh canvas, and we hope it stays that way.
Okay guys, this is the moment of truth. Here goes nothing.
The last time Kelly and I attempted this, it didn't go so well. We ended up with hydraulic fluid all over the place.
Yep.
This time, I hope to not, but it is still a possibility.
As you can see, we're about 5 minutes into getting set up for round 2 and already a hot mess.
Okay, so these hoses are attached to the bleed lines on the back of the cylinder.
Seems to be working.
Yeah.
Just like last time, Chris stays up on deck and pours the hydraulic fluid into the line. I go down below to turn the helm, monitor the bubble situation in the lines, and make sure nothing's leaking.
Are you ready? Ready, Captain. Okay. Turn it to the starboard side, or, yeah. Anything happening? Okay, now go check it. Look up close, just so we're sure. Okay, now go back and do the other way. Okay, that's the side we're most concerned about, so I do too. So go ahead and go check it just to make sure. Come up here, would you?
This round proved to be much more successful. The bubbles slowly, and I mean very slowly, left the lines, and after what seemed like hours of spinning the helm in both directions, we finally had a smooth operation.
Alright, I'm closing up shop.
Finally.
Yeah. Doesn't look like anything but this was leaking. And I think we're pretty tight on air. Cross your fingers that all this is good to go. Well, we just did a test, Kell.
Yeah? What were the results?
It's not leaking.
It's good.
It feels like there's some hitch in the giddy up, but
What does that mean?
as far as I can tell, the cylinder is sound. There might still be some air in the lines, but I feel like we bled that pretty well. I mean, this has been like a 5-part process today.
Yeah.
By the time we were done, there was no bubbles coming up. The only thing I think we might need to do is bleed the other helm. But you're supposed to bleed the highest up helm, which would have been that one up there.
Okay.
So
You feel pretty good?
fingers crossed, I feel optimistic about what we've done. Kell,
Yes,
this week was a struggle for me.
it was a struggle for both of us.
Was it a struggle for you?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, sometimes when you're doing boat work, it goes super duper smooth and things get done and it's invigorating and it's fun and you feel like you're going somewhere. Other times, nothing works.
It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I tell you, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, man, I was ready to just be like, kick the stand underneath it and collect the insurance money.
Wow. It was like,
I just felt like everything was like not as fun as it seemed like it should be. I felt like I'd really gotten nothing done the whole week, even though I'd spent 30 plus hours working on the boat.
I feel like there was a lot of build up to this weekend being awesome, and it wasn't awesome, and there were a lot of almosts. Like, if we finish this one almost thing, we can do the next thing, but we can't do that until we really finish.
But we finished strong. I'm super excited about where we're going, but it was a rough week for me. Thank you for being around to keep me going. That sounded probably contrived, but I mean it, like seriously, that was like a big part of it. Anyway, thanks for watching the video this week. Please hit the thumbs up button because it was awesome. I'm pretty positive.
Yeah.
Also, subscribe to our channel and hit the little notification to get alerted when we release new videos, which are
Great, and they happen every Saturday morning.
yeah, Saturday. That's what I was going for, but this is unscripted.
Yeah,
This is exciting stuff.
this is the real deal.
So I've been in this compromised position for quite some time. It's called
crisscross applesauce. And I can't feel my legs. I'm just gonna hang out and stare at stuff for a while.